We, the children in Israel, are going through very sad, scary, and difficult times. We wanted to ask you for only one thing.
Stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So all I ask is stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand.
Stand by me, stand by me.
If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, stand by.
No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long
as you stand by me.
So all I ask is stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. All I ask is stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me.
Stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me.
Stand by me. Stand by me.
Welcome to the 2023 Stand With Us Midwest Campus Champions Gala. Please welcome your host for the evening, Olga Washington.
Honored guests and friends of Stand With Us, good evening and welcome. I wish we were here under better circumstances to celebrate our shared commitment to the values of the education and support of the Jewish people, as well as the State of Israel, as we have done at the Campus Champion Galas these past 12 years. Sadly, as we all know, just 3 weeks ago, on October 7th, humanity experienced a shock when a terrorist organization, Hamas, infiltrated Israel, and it slaughtered men, women, and babies, taking hundreds as hostages and injuring and displacing thousands. I happened to land at Ben Gurion Airport just as things were unfolding. And as a proud Zionist who has visited Israel many times before, I never thought that I personally would hear the sirens and also hear the explosions of the Iron Dome as it intercepted rockets. Being on the ground for the first week of the war only resolved my strength to stand with the Jewish people wherever they may be. Tonight, we come together to reflect on the challenges that Israel and the Jewish people face in today's increasingly complex world. We recognize that we live in a time when the need for understanding, for solidarity, and for support for Israel has never been greater. It's a time when, unfortunately, misinformation and bias are threatening the very core of our shared values. However, as we gather here, let us remember that we are not powerless in the face of these challenges. We have the power to change hearts and to change minds, to combat falsehoods with facts, and to foster a deeper understanding of the remarkable and diverse nation that is Israel. Stand With Us is committed to educating and engaging with people from all walks of life, from all around the world, and from all different backgrounds. In this room here tonight, we have representatives from the Hindu community, from the Christian community, and also from the Muslim community. We believe that education and open dialogue can bridge gaps, create connections, and promote a fair and just understanding of Israel. Our programs, our initiatives, as well as our dedicated team members work tirelessly to accomplish this goal. So thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for your dedication to the cause we all hold so dear. Let's make this gala a powerful testament to our shared commitment and the difference we can make together. We will begin this evening with a prayer for the state of Israel, sung by some of the Midwest's most renowned cantors.
Bless
obtains with lasting joy.
Let us say, Amen, Amen.
Avinu shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael bego'alo, Barech et medinat Yisrael, Rishit smichat geulatenu. Hagein aleinu, Evrot chasvechu, Ufros aleha, Sukkot shelomecha, v'nomar amen,
And now, please welcome Cantor Stephen Storr to sing the Star Spangled Banner and Hatikvah.
we take great pride in our extraordinary staff as well as our students. And so we would like for you to meet them for yourselves. I would like to invite all Stand With Us staff and our Kenneth Leventhal intern and Emerson fellow to the front of the room so that everyone can see who Stand With Us is. It's all of us. Woo! Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the work that you do. And now, I would like to welcome to the stage someone that I call Auntie Peggy. She is Stand With Us Director of Special Projects. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Peggy Shapiro.
Thank you for being here. We need to be together. To stand with us for being the wind beneath my wings. And there's a special person. Tonight was supposed to, we were supposed to have 3 honorees tonight. And one was supposed to be, I asked Cantor Storr, and he had a concert that they were giving with 13 cantors. Then he changed, and he called me up, he said, we're all coming to the Stand With Us Gala. And you just heard their beautiful music. Cantor Storr has been, not only for this occasion, but amazingly helpful. I don't know how we could have done so many things without him. So Cantor Storr, I would like you to come up just for a minute. Now, I have to tell you, your wife told me you don't like surprises because you like to be in control of everything. But she gave me special permission, so if this is a surprise you don't want, take it up with her. Okay, this is a little token of our appreciation. It reads, I'm going to move over here a little bit. It reads, Cantor Stephen Storr, a spiritual leader who lifts and unites us through music, the speech of angels. October 29th, 2023.
Very dear.
Thank you.
Very dear. Thank you. She's right. I don't like them, but from you, anytime. Okay. Thank you so much.
As many of you know, I'm a child of 2 Holocaust survivors. Some of you have met my mother of blessed memory. My parents endured unimaginable anguish and pain, but the worst of their nightmares were about the torment of children. Only when I was adult did my mother share a story which had haunted her for her entire life. It was shortly before she was sent to concentration camp. She was 14 years old, working for the Nazis as a slave laborer in her city. She was hungry, but she found a little escape visiting her cousin, who had 2 little boys, 2 and 5, little gingies, redheads. I don't know why, but there are a lot of redheads in my family. All my family in Israel has red hair. That's something else. But The mother of these boys was a cheerful young woman, and she had a beautiful voice, and she would walk around and sing melodies. So for my mother, it felt good to be in that environment. And one day she went to visit her cousin. A cousin asked her if she would babysit just for a little while because she had a ration coupon and she wanted to get bread. Her cousin was gone only a few minutes when there was a crash. The front door was smashed down, and there stood men that looked like giants to a 14-year-old girl, wearing high, shiny boots. One of them grabbed the 5-year-old, and my mother was holding on to the 2-year-old, and they grabbed the baby from her, threw her against the room, across the room, against the wall. She fell down. And as fast as it started, it was over. In the meantime, the children's mother heard that the Nazis were hunting for toddlers. Every day they were hunting for someone else. So she ran home in desperation. She saw the door down, my mother crying on the floor, and nobody said a word. She knew what had happened. My mother left in tears, and her cousin went crazy, not figuratively, literally. She was sent to a mental hospital where she was murdered. I don't know her cousin's name or the children's name because my mother could never utter those words. On October 7th, I woke up, like most of us did, to the horrible news that Jewish men, women, and children were massacred. And then I saw an image of a woman holding 2 little boys, red-headed little boys, who had been ripped from their mother and thrown into a truck by Hamas. My parents had promised me never again. And yet here were Jewish babies being targeted, tortured, and brutalized again. All war is bad. All war has innocent victims. But the savagery and intentionality of attacking, burning, and decapitating babies, that's a special level of evil, as is the viciousness of those who are chanting to support the monsters. I was reeling. Is it 1943 again? The Nazis meticulously photographed their crimes, and Hamas boasts of their murders on social media. While Holocaust deniers waited until survivors were beginning to leave this earth, Hamas apologists are denying the atrocities, even while little children are still being held in terrified captivity. We've seen the videos of young people on campuses ripping down posters with the photos of the kidnapped. The frenzied mobs of students at our most elite or most expensive colleges who are cheering Hamas, as did the mass mobs who idolize Hitler. At some universities, professors are dismissing classes so their students can join the protest, which calls for the destruction of the only Jewish state. Most university administrators have not shown themselves to be profiles in courage. Is it 1943? Is there nothing left but despair? It would be easy to answer yes. Yet I say no. Because now we have a Jewish state. We have a refuge. We have an army. We can defend ourselves. I say no because there are organizations like Stand With Us which take action to defend Israel on the battlefronts, in the media, in communities, on campuses, in high schools, in middle schools. You know, no one at Stand With Us has slept a full night since October 7th. But I say no because we are all here in solidarity. Because we have allies, Christian, Hindu, and Muslim, who stand with us to assure us that never again is not just an expired slogan. Tonight, our honorees and keynote speaker exemplified the courage that we need. They have the mental and moral strength to speak up when others are silent. They have the perseverance to withstand fear, difficulty, even danger when others succumb to the safety of mob conformity. Please watch this short video, which only touches on the vision and heroic leadership of one of our honorees, Dr. Bharat Barai.
I was born in Mumbai, India, and I came here as Mr. Nobody looking for an internship and climbed my way up and became the chairman of the Medical Licensing Board of the state. I have accompanied some congressmen and senators on visit to India. As a student, I used to read about Israel and Jewish people, but the encounters were limited to reading about it. We used to talk about the bravery of the people of Israel and the admiration for the sacrifices and determination that they have to have their own land, defend their own faith. We used to say that India lives in bad neighborhood with Pakistan and China. Same way we felt that Israel was surrounded by hostile neighbors who always wanted to destroy them. So there was also natural bonding and sympathy for the struggle. We must do what we can to try to support these people. I have made about 6 trips to Israel. Some of my Jewish friends here were telling me that, hey, Bharat Bhai, why don't you help organize a Madison Square Garden type reception for Prime Minister Modi when he visits Israel? And I said, I'll be happy to volunteer. And we helped them, guide them, and both Prime Minister Netanyahu and Prime Minister Modi addressed the gathering. We led 50 to 60 people in support of Israel in front of the Israeli consulate in Chicago. And when there were dirty resolutions coming against the Hindu community and India, we had requested your help. This collaborative relationship between Hindu communities, Jewish communities, and StandWithUs has been mutually beneficial to our communities. StandWithUs has been standing up for the rights of Jewish people, and obviously they deserve the support. And I have frequently quoted Mrs. Golda Meir when somebody had asked, Mrs. Meir, when will peace come to Middle East? She said, when the Arabs love their children more than they hate the Jewish children. Yes, you can have your own Jewish school or Hindu school, you can have your own temples, you can have your cultural festivals, you can have your religious festivals, provided you are free.
Dr. Barai. Dear friend, you were instrumental in bringing India and Israel closer together. You paved the road for closer ties between the Hindu and Jewish American communities. When Israel or the Jewish people are in need, you call and you're there before you're even asked. You helped organize a rally in Calcutta, India, for Israel, standing with Israel, for over 70,000 people. And you are a leader. When you speak, people listen, people follow. I am indebted to you for my cherished friendships with the Hindu American community across the country and in India. And here is a small token of our gratitude and respect. It reads, Dr. Bharat H. Barai, a leader whose vision and courage inspires unity and friendship between the Hindu and Jewish people, October 29th, 2023.
Thank you for inviting me to accept this honor, which really belongs to millions of Hindus all over the world. They admire and sympathize with you. As one of the oldest civilizations, Jews have been living in Israel, including Judea and Samaria, from the river to the sea for more than 3,000 years. There is only one tiny Jewish homeland of 8,550 square miles, Israel. I have visited Israel 6 times. You have built a highly advanced country within last 75 years. The Jews constitute only 0.2% of world population, but you have captured 22% of Nobel Prizes, 215 or so. Jews came to India almost 2,000 years ago after the destruction of Second Temple as boat people. They have lived in India without any fear, without any persecution. In fact, the Hindu Maharaja of Cochin gave them the land to build the synagogue right next to his palace and assured them that my guards will protect your synagogue. And I'm proud to say that this synagogue, called Pardesi Synagogue, has never been attacked, vandalized, or ransacked. In World War II, over 1,000 orphans from Poland who were externed in Siberia, half of them Jewish, they were being expelled by the Russians. They were put on the ship, and nobody wanted to accept them. The ship moved around, went to many ports in Europe and Asia, and nobody would allow this ship to dock. The Maharaja of Jamnagar, my state of Gujarat, accepted them. He called these orphans, stood in front of them and said, "Children, I know you have lost your parents, but I am your father. He sheltered them for a number of years, educated them till they all found their careers, and they are settled all over the world. It was in a little movie called Little Poland in India. Coming to the current situation, on October 7th, brutal Hamas barbarians attacked, murdered, raped, and abducted almost 1,400 Israelis, including women, children, elderly. Hindus all over the world, along with most of the civilized world, have condemned these brutal barbarian atrocities, affirming their solidarity with the Jewish people and supporting the right of Israel to defend itself and demolish the demon of Hamas. We stand with you, our Jewish brothers and sisters. We stand with you. Yes, we do see demonstrations in some of the cities by individuals who are misinformed or uninformed or hardcore religiously indoctrinated individuals blaming Israel. But these are fabricated narratives, playing the victim card after committing barbaric atrocities. We hope that after Hamas is demolished and hostages are relieved unharmed, more Middle East nations will join Abraham Accord to peace and prosperity for all. Nobody likes the innocent civilians affected in the war, but the blame is solely on Hamas that operates the terrorist cells from the hospitals, the schools, residential areas, and still keeps on firing rockets at Israeli civilians. It's left to Israel to demolish Hamas with all your intelligence, smartness, and all the weapons at its disposal. Never again, never again, never again.
We are in a room with greatness. Pastor Brooks, I met you. You know what? Let's have the video first, then you'll see all the good things we say, and then I'll tell you. Okay. So, a short video, really short. It doesn't cover enough of what this great man does, but let's see it.
I was a pretty rebellious kid, teenager especially. But no matter what I did, no matter where I went, we always had to go to church. Sunday was this all day church. But that grew me. It helped me to know about the Bible. It helped me to know the wonderful stories. It come to help me to know God in a very real and personal way. One of my favorite biblical characters, as I'm sure for many of my Jewish brothers and sisters, is Moses. And my church hears me tell stories about Moses all the time. I was tired of just a traditional church and doing things as usual. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something cutting edge. So we started New Beginnings Church, and it's been a blessing to our neighborhood. And out of New Beginnings Church, we said, okay, we need to have a missions arm of our church. So we started Project Hood. Hood stands for Helping Others Obtain Destiny. And our focus is on poverty and violence. And it gives us a wonderful opportunity to come alongside people and to help them change the trajectory of their lives. We were called the #1 neighborhood for violence in all of the city of Chicago at that time. And I wanted to bring awareness to it because I felt enough people weren't talking about it. At the same time, this motel was across the street that was really causing a lot of issues for our community. It was a haven for drug dealers and prostitution. And I wanted to buy it and get rid of it. So I went up on the top of the roof of that motel and I said, I'm not going to come down until the story is told all across America about what's going on, about the violence, and until I raise enough money to purchase the motel and tear it down. It was 94 days of staying on that roof, and the world began to know about the violence in the south side of Chicago, and we raised enough money to purchase that motel and tear it down, and that's exactly where we're going to build our 90,000 square foot economic opportunity center now. It's a wonderful story, and even I can't believe it. My message to both communities, the Black and the Jewish community, is build relationships. I think so many times and so often we allow our differences to separate us, but our differences should not separate us. Our differences should help us to celebrate one another. And I'm happy and thankful to be a part of Stand With Us. And specifically, we were trying to do something for babies, and Peggy brought her and her friends with lots of gifts for all of these children and Pampers and things of that sort. And we were so appreciative. Little did we know then what we know now, that a great relationship would be forged. We've had the Passover event, which was really amazing, where we were able to share musically and theologically all of our views and experiences, which was an amazing event. It's been a lot, and it's been a blessing. I would love to be able to take some entrepreneurs and people to Israel, to see people who have risen out of nothing and created such a beautiful nation would change the dynamics of our community drastically. I'm happy and thankful to be a part of Stand With Us, and it's been an amazing journey, and it's been a journey that I'm grateful for.
Raise me up
Pastor Brooks.
so I can stand on mountains. Raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong.
Pastor Brooks, you and I met during adversity, during the COVID pandemic, and there were some destruction and riots, and we called and spoke to each other, what do you need? And the first time I met you, I knew that I met a leader who could make things happen. And a person, and I watched your leadership style, and I thought, this is a man I could study at his feet. On your desk, you had a copy of The Startup Nation, book about. He didn't know I was doing anything about Israel. He just had that book on his desk. And I asked you why you have that book, and you said, because you want a black startup nation. Giving people opportunity to grow and thrive. And I knew you were the man to do it. But you're not only focused with a relentless determination. This man was on the roof in Chicago, and he stayed on the roof for almost a year without going down. And you want to replace violence with opportunity, but you are a true and courageous friend. You stand up against antisemitism, sometimes in difficult situations, to form meaningful relationships and partnerships with the Jewish community and stand with us. For these reasons, and so many more, I'm honored to honor you. I'll get closer here. Pastor Corey Brooks, a courageous leader who inspires us to stand together in the belief that what unites us is far greater than what divides us. October 29th, 2023. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Tonight, I'm proud to say that I stand with Israel. And yes, and that my heart goes out to Israel as well, because we know that pain, the pain of having children who lose their lives too soon, the pain of losing children at the hands of violent individuals who could care less about the future. We know that pain so well. Over the last 30 years in Chicago, I've done over 200 funerals. of young people under the age of 18 who have been shot and killed. We know that pain so well. One of those individuals was a young man by the name of Carlton Archer, who was 16 years old, who was shot and killed. His parents were members of our congregation, and they did not want to have the funeral at our church because they were afraid of what would happen. Somehow I convinced his mother and father to go ahead and have the funeral at our church. And just as they said, as the children from 4 blocks away were walking into our neighborhood, one set of kids from another gang walking into another gang territory where our church was, gunfire broke out. And my heart sank because I realized the pain and the trauma that this mother had already experienced was even going to be magnified. I never will forget, we were able to get things calm, and we debated on whether we should have the funeral or not, but we decided to go ahead and have it anyway. Police were everywhere, all around the building. And at the end of that funeral, something happened to me that had never happened before. I felt this prompting, this urging, to tell the young men there that had brought guns illegally into the church that they need to turn those guns in. And if anyone would turn those guns in, that they would not experience any criminal charges. And I said a prayer, and with faith and boldness, I believed that people were going to just run down and throw all guns at the altar at the front of the church. But it didn't happen. It was silent. It was quiet. No one said a word at the end of the prayer. Then all of a sudden, a young man with locks and a T-shirt and baggy jeans pulls up his shirt, and in the band of his pants, he pulls out a 9mm Glock. Another individual pulls out another gun. Another individual pulls out another gun. At the end of the funeral, the sergeant of police came up to me. They had found a 4th gun, a 9mm with an extended clip underneath one of the seats. And right then I made a vow to God, God, whatever you want me to do in this neighborhood to bring about transformation, I'm all in. Little did I know I would walk about 100 feet outside of our church, and there it was across the street from our church, a motel that was the centerpiece of gun violence, the centerpiece of drug dealing, the centerpiece of prostitution, and something had to be done. I decided to go up on the roof of that motel, and I determined that I was not going to come down until everyone in America and around the world was made aware of the violence that was going on the south side of Chicago. I ended up staying there 94 days. And while I was there, I wrote these things called Rooftop Revelations, trying to figure out all the ways that we could better our community. We started a non-for-profit while I was on the roof called Project Hood. Hood stands for Helping Others Obtain Destiny. When we decided we're going to focus on education, economics, social, spiritual ills, health, and wellness in order to turn our community around, because in 2014, the Chicago Sun-Times called our neighborhood the most dangerous block in all of Chicago, O Block. O because it was named after a young man named O.D. Perry who was shot and killed, and the gangs picked up the O in his name and started calling it O Block. Well, we decided we wanted to do something. We wanted transformation. However, we liked the O. We just wanted to change what it was stood for. So we changed it to Opportunity Block. And ever since that time, we've been making things better for individuals in our neighborhood, trying to bring about change, trying to change things around, so much so that 10 years after that first rooftop experience, I went back up on the roof. Because after we purchased the motel the first time and cleared the area, we said we wanted to have a center, a leadership and economic center, where we could build a black startup nation, where we could give our children an opportunity to learn and to grow, where we could build collaborations with groups like Stand With Us that would come into our community and help us to be everything that God designs for us to be. And I went back up on the roof and I stayed there for 343 days, all in an attempt to build a leadership and economic center, 90,000 square feet, $35 million. And you know, in Chicago, when you bring in the unions, it's now $40 million. And we said we want to build it for free. We want to build it debt-free. And we've been working very hard. And over the last 2 years, Since I was on that roof, we raised $30 million. And a lot of that is in response to the cheering on, the encouraging, and the collaboration of Stand With Us. Understanding that you can't do it on an island by yourself. That partnerships and relationships are so vital and so important if you're ever going to accomplish anything in this world. I learned a long time ago that God did not put me on the earth all by myself, so therefore, I need to partner and collaborate with individuals who are like-minded. I'm so grateful for the relationship with Stand With Us. I'm so grateful that when we needed Pampers and milk in our neighborhood, to have the world's largest baby shower, to help single mothers who were trying to get a good start, Stand With Us was right there. I'm so grateful that at every turn when we've looked for partners to help us to transform our community, Stand With Us has been right there. So we want you to know that not only do you stand with us, but we also stand with you. We may all be from different places. We may have different ethnicities and religions and viewpoints. But all of us are God's children. And the world will be such a better place when we learn how to live in peace. So as we pray for Israel on the south side of Chicago, I go back home on the south side of Chicago tonight asking you to pray for us as well. Pray for us that young kids can walk to the stores without being shot and killed. Pray for us that the reading levels in our neighborhood will rise. 4% reading proficiency, 6% math proficiency in our community. Pray for us. The young black boys will stop killing young black boys. Pray for us that life will be different and that peace will come. I tell people, I may not see you on this side of heaven again, but I thank God that one of these old days, when all of God's children get together in heaven, what a time, what a time, what a time we shall have. But until that time, let's practice peace, goodwill, love toward one another. God bless you, God keep you, and please don't forget, as you pray for Israel, pray for the south side of Chicago.
Thank you for our honorees.
Wow, 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 wow. What incredible honorees. True pillars of the community here in Chicago. It is more important now than ever before that we come together from all faiths and backgrounds to fight hate and to stand up for humanity. Stand With Us is doing this every day, mentoring and teaching students to be leaders in their own communities. Two people doing this work every day, going into the classrooms and onto campuses and connecting with students at all hours, our Stand With Us Midwest Campus Manager, Daniel Bedell Cortina, and Stand With Us Midwest High School Manager, Ms. Haley Stern.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. The students we work with are truly amazing, and we'd love for you to take a look.
Growing up with a Holocaust survivor for a grandparent kind of shaped my entire life. Hearing his stories, knowing what he went through just to get to America and provide a life for my family, it just really guided me throughout a lot of my decisions. When I was growing up in Marlboro, I always knew what was going on in Israel, what was going on in the world of Judaism, how to look out for anti-Semitism. I saw what was going on at other college campuses with anti-Semitism and really, really extreme anti-Israel rhetoric. And I knew that I never wanted to feel unsafe with my beliefs and my religion here on campus. So I wanted to take a proactive route in order to ensure that I would never be in one of those situations. A Jewish student had a mezuzah on their apartment door, and a non-Jewish student took the mezuzah, ripped it off, burnt it, and then placed it back in front of the apartment door for the resident to see. I reacted to the incident by getting more involved in Indiana University's Anti-Semitism Prevention and Awareness Task Force. The club got together and painted red mezuzahs that said, "I stand with my Jewish friends at Indiana University." We gave them out to students all over campus, to administrators, to faculty, teachers, and they put them up on their doors so that all the Jewish students knew that while there was an anti-Semitic incident on campus, that there were more people that stood with the Jewish people than that were against. I invited over 100 members of different marginalized communities at Indiana University, and it helped bridge a lot of the gap between the Jewish community and the non-Jewish community, because I truly think that the most important thing to combating anti-Semitism and any sort of hatred is education. Stand With Us has assisted me in fighting anti-Semitism and standing up for Israel. The Stand With Us family is completely supportive of everything I do, and they're there whenever I have problems and need help. I was lucky enough to be put into a cohort with hundreds of other students fighting the same fight, standing up for what I was standing up for. It provided me with a community. They continue to be a huge driving factor in why I'm able to do what I do on campus.
I grew up in a very Jewish community in St. Louis, and from a very young age, my parents instilled Jewish values in me. So my dad, his mom was from Israel, so growing up, I've always been taught about Israel and had a love for it even before I ever went, just because my family's from there. I was the very first Kenneth Leventhal High School intern from my high school. The first time I ever experienced anti-Semitism was actually at my Jewish school. There was a bomb threat called when I was in 5th grade, but I didn't really understand that was anti-Semitism at the time. But then once I switched to a regular private school, I experienced more anti-Semitism, people calling me Jew or people doing the Nazi salute at me in the hallway. And then it kind of progressed worse as I got older. One of my Jewish friends had received a text from one of his classmates pretty much saying, "I'm gonna go DEFCON 3 on you," and saying a lot of things that Kanye West said. And obviously there was physical evidence of that. That was brought to the school and very little was done to help rectify the situation. And there was very little punishment involved for the student who had said those things. I got very upset. As a Jewish person, I got very upset, but I didn't feel confident, just myself going into talking to the administration, because I had done that in the past with other incidents and it wasn't really taken seriously.
I work directly with our Kenneth Leventhal High School interns along with our Teen Leadership Council, bringing education and resources to communities and to schools.
I called Haley right away, and almost every single day that week I was on the phone with Haley after school. And normally before the internship and conversations like that, I would visibly get upset and not really handle the conversation in a mature way. But Haley was able to help me navigate the conversation in a way where what I was saying would be received well and would be able to make a change. And eventually she even came in to speak to not only the students but also the faculty and administration. Everyone after came to me with only positive feedback. They were so thankful that I was able to bring her in, and all the teachers and faculty only had good things to say. Having all these staff to fall back on really just gave me the confidence to speak up. My school was not really able to handle anti-Semitism before Stand With Us got involved.
Unfortunately, Alana's story is not unique. The same week that she called me from school after an anti-Semitic incident occurred, I received 4 other phone calls from around the region of other students experiencing anti-Semitism.
If I didn't have any Stand With Us training or resources, I wouldn't have been able to conduct any conversations or make any change in a reasonable way or a mature way. I have the facts. I have plenty of resources that I can rely on that Stand With Us gave me. After I finished my internship, I recruited one of my friends, and she's currently a high school intern. In the future, I do hope to become an Emerson Fellow and continue my journey as a Jewish activist.
Students like this make us hopeful for the future.
Please welcome our student honorees. So I have an award here for Alana Boyer for Outstanding Kenneth Leventhal High School Intern. Alana, this is for what you have done, what you are doing, and will continue to do to stand up for Israel and against anti-Semitism. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have here the award for Sophie Shaffrin. It reads, Outstanding Emerson Fellow. It is given to you for what you have done, what you are doing, and will continue to do to stand for Israel and against anti-Semitism.
Thank you so much.
It's so beautiful to see future leaders like these students and the impact that they are having in their communities. Roz Rothstein is the daughter of 2 Holocaust survivors. She is the co-founder and CEO of StandWithUs, our 22-year-old international nonpartisan education organization working on 6 continents. Pretty impressive. Stand With Us fights anti-Semitism and supports Israel, and has become one of the most significant players in the pro-Israel education space. Stand With Us inspires as well as educates hundreds of thousands of middle school, high school, and college students every single year through fellowships and curriculum. Their social media platforms reach millions of people each week. Stand With Us has a powerful and badly needed legal department, a Holocaust education department, and a growing coalition of non-denominational Zionist rabbis. Since the inception of Stand With Us, the Forward magazine has twice named Rothstein one of the 50 most influential Jews in America, and the Jerusalem Post has twice named her one of the 50 most influential Jews in the world. Please welcome Stand With Us International CEO and co-founder, Roz Rothstein.
Hi, everybody. What a time we're living in, wow. So first, congratulations to all of our honorees. Oh my goodness, what a moving, emotional group of honorees we have this year. So personally, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all your work. And to our students, you're the reason that we do our work.
So I want to thank our local advisory board. You guys are amazing. You are among the best boards on the planet. If I say you're the best one, then I would really get in trouble with the national board. So you are among, but I won't fight with Peggy, so you are the best. And Peggy Shapiro. Hugs and kisses. Peggy, a force of nature, child of Holocaust survivors, just like me. We have a special club. We're very sensitive. We're very sensitive to these things. So everything that's going right now is reminiscent of how we grew up, the stories that we grew up with, things that we heard, people hiding behind, walls and closets and hiding under dead bodies and hiding behind trees because they were hunted. They were hunted as Jews. And so all of these stories right now that we're hearing that are coming out are a little bit too triggering for survivors. I know many survivors who are saying now that they don't want to leave their homes, survivors who are still alive, who are feeling like it's back, and kids of survivors like us feeling triggered. And then the grandchildren of survivors feeling like, obsessed with what's going on and can't believe it. They cannot believe it. It's an international state of mourning that we're going through, a nightmare. It feels like a nightmare that doesn't want to end. And the thing is, though, we have seen this violence before. This is nothing brand new. What's brand new is the numbers, of course. We haven't seen numbers like these. 1,400 people viciously massacred because they're Jewish and because they live in Israel. We haven't seen these kinds of numbers since the Holocaust. And of course, the hostages, we haven't had a situation like this, and we're heartbroken. It's hard to cope. I know that everybody has their way of coping. These are times when it's very, very important for us to be together. So tonight, you coming here is of great comfort to all of us, to Jewish and those people who are not Jewish that are here tonight that care so much about the issues that we care about. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Unfortunately, the barbarism that we're witnessing right now that we saw on October the 7th is not new, and you have to draw the straight line and understand that this is not new. We have seen this before. Part of the reason we started Stand With Us is because of the vicious barbarism that we saw in 2001, 22 years ago. People with radical ideologies packing bombs with nails and rat poison, killing babies in strollers and viciously murdering boys in a cave, suicide bombers on buses and in cafes, and the Dolphinarium, a teenage nightclub in Israel that was bombed by a suicide bomber. We have seen this before. So unfortunately, there is a straight line. In 1929, we saw it. We saw it in the Hebron massacre, if you remember. When the Mufti of Jerusalem told everybody that the Jewish people were going to destroy Al-Aqsa. We saw it then. We saw a pogrom in Hebron in 1929. So we began 22 years ago because we wanted to stand up for the Jewish people, stand up for Israel, and get the story straight, because unfortunately, the media was leaving out chunks of information, important context. So not only were we witnessing murder in Israel, but we were also witnessing a lack of storytelling that made any sense of the situation. That's why we started this organization 22 years ago, to fight anti-Semitism that we saw rising on the college campuses 22 years ago and in communities, and to tell Israel's story in the media where it wasn't being told properly. Everything was out of context. And to support the people of Israel who felt alone because there were no voices standing up in solidarity when they were going through this pain and suffering of bus bombings and cafe bombings and everything that we remember from 22 years ago. So now we have this organization. We spent 22 years building it, and many people are saying to me, this moment is the reason that you built this organization. It's profound to hear that from me. Like, what about all the work that we did until now? Yeah, that's important too. But this moment is the moment that makes sense out of everything, all the steps you've taken to get to this moment. We already had a job. We already have 15 departments on 6 continents. We already had a job. But now, you cannot imagine, Peggy said it earlier, there are not any of us at Stand With Us that are sleeping very well, eating very well. We have to remind everybody to drink water because this is a time where we are getting inundated with the very problems that we already had times 1,000. I just want to give you some examples so you understand what's going on. So before this started, we have a fantastic social media department, really first class. We are kings in the area of social media and education on behalf of Israel and the Jewish people, making sure that you get your information timely. If you want to know what's going on, take a look at Stand With Us social media platforms. I can't see you. I'd ask you how many of you are on social media. But you must be now. If you are on any social media platforms, you ought to be on Stand With Us as well. I'll tell you why. During wars in the last 22 years, we would have interactions in the course of a week, maybe 100 million interactions on our social media. What's an interaction, you ask? I know everybody asks. That would be you like something, you forward, you repost something, or you make a comment. So that's 3 ways that you would interact and participate in social media. In the last week alone, Stand With Us has had 350 million interactions. But you have to understand that in order to do that, our team has to be awake all the time, posting, making sure you get that college students and high school students and people in communities around the world get what you're looking for at all hours of the day. There are rockets going out. Somebody was hurt. This is a slogan that you can take forward that's very important. These are the truths, and you can trust it. We don't post anything that isn't 100% accurate. So when you repost it, you're really helping Israel and the Jewish people tell the story. Our legal department. Our legal department, already busy, already needing to expand, now are getting, well, let me put it in perspective. The legal department used to get about 10 serious incidents a week and have to distribute the work to our pro bono network. We have a very large pro bono network. 250 pro bono attorneys across the United States work with Stand With Us. Now, remember I said it was 10 a week. Now we're getting 25 a day, very serious incidents, And we were already busy. So imagine what's going on here. It's impossible to sustain this. Impossible. So it's impossible to sustain the social media, impossible to sustain the legal, because we need to grow. We need to be able to accommodate the demand from high school. By the way, when we started Stand With Us, I would always ask the kids, when I would meet them at the beginning of the year, would always ask the high school kids, how many of you have experienced anti-Semitism in your schools? And there would be maybe 4 or 5 stories. Now, it's 100% of the students that show up and tell their stories of anti-Semitism. Everything has changed. And we are called upon now to support those students. And oftentimes, it is through legal help. So that's just our legal and social media. And now I'll tell you, the high school and the college campus staff are completely inundated, taking calls all hours of the day from the students that we have to refer to the legal department. Our staff is completely stretched, and so we need more people in our high school and our college world of Stand With Us. Research and strategy. Research and strategy for Stand With Us is a whole department. They produce materials so that we can post it on social media, so that we can answer questions, so that we can put carousels on topics on Instagram, so that you and everybody you know can get this information timely. So everybody's working crazy. Our middle school, and we have Mina Rush here somewhere. It's dark, but we love you, Mina. Mina's the director of our middle school. When this happened, right away, the middle school team jumped into action. And they put together a crisis toolkit for teachers to help young teens process what they are seeing and hearing. So the middle school team created this toolkit revolving around Jewish unity and resilience as the key to our 3,000 years of success against anti-Semitism, so that it can be viewed positively, which is true. I mean, we as heartbroken as we are, make no mistake, we're not broken. So our middle school team has been leading free professional development sessions for teachers, by the way, made possible through the Etta and David Jonas Israel Educators Fellowship. And the Jonas family, thank you very much, are here tonight. And just one piece of silver lining, great news. Our Midwest Regional Director, Eric Liederman, is not here with us tonight because he just had a baby. So we're so happy about that. I just want to mention demonstrations right now, gatherings of people holding Israeli flags with important messages of support. Those are really important. But every time you have a gathering, you have to have security, and you have to have a podium with AV. And so there's money that goes into every single rally, but oftentimes communities don't have the funding. So where do they go? They come to Stand With Us. We need funding for security. San Francisco just asked me for $15,000 for security because they needed to move barriers and bring private security. So we are called upon, Stand With Us, to support rallies around the world. You should be proud of that, but it also is, it's more for us. You know, we really are stretching. People are coming to us as a hub of coordination and communication, and I'm proud of that. And we will always make the time for good projects, and we will connect people. We even connected a lot of people with a lot of big money that wanted to send vests and important military gear to Israel. We connected people with those that were flying the military gear, and so we became a hub for those flights, and I'm proud of that. Last thing I want to tell you to end my remarks. So last Tuesday, we had a flash rally press conference in front of the United Nations. The United Nations, not a friend of Israel, generally, very, very bad, non-friend, minus friend. And media showed up, and lots of people showed up in the very last minute. It was sponsored by 20 different organizations, and it was really a solid showing, and at least 20 media outlets were there. And we had people who came to speak that are family members of hostages. And one of them has 5 or 6 of his family being held hostage by Hamas. Doesn't know if they're alive or not, living a nightmare daily. And after the rally was over, I went into the United Nations. I spent a few hours in there. Take medication if you ever go. Really, really a bad experience. Very, very bad. But when I came out, I went to my hotel, and there was this one man who told his story of the relatives he has being held by Hamas. And he looked at me and he said, "Who are you? I recognize you." And I said, "I'm Roz Rothstein. I'm the CEO of StandWithUs." And he nearly broke down. And he said to me, I will read it to you. He said, "Every Israeli knows who StandWithUs is because we're so grateful that you're lifting up our photos and our voices. Thank you." So it was very, very moving. Just know that the organization that began 22 years ago to fight misinformation and support young people to grow young Zionists around the world, that organization today is doing heavy lifting on all relevant fronts, and you can be proud to partner and support StandWithUs. Am Yisrael Chai, and thank you.
And now, please welcome Stand With Us Midwest board member, Charles Glick.
Good evening. We know that we're just on the precipice of a major spike in anti-Semitism globally. We planned, before this atrocious assault on our people, to show you a video of student testimonials of anti-Semitism they face on campus. I want to still show this to you tonight because we need to prepare and support our children now more than ever before. Take a look.
On February 8th of this year, I woke up with a full case of pork meat smeared on my door, as well as my dorm room door I was glued into my door, so I couldn't leave.
Around Holocaust Remembrance Week and like Yom HaShoah and Yom HaAtzmaut and all that, there was some students that decided to throw Hitler a birthday party, and they made a cake and cupcakes and went out on 4/20, and because that's Hitler's birthday, and threw him a party.
My friend woke up in the middle of the night because of a loud noise. They didn't check it out, but they went to their dorm bathroom the next morning, and what they found was a toilet that was broken, like the seat was broken and like thrown all over the floor, and the walls were decorated with swastika made out of poop.
This guy, he knew some people in my class, and he decided to pick on me because I was Jewish. and he was cyberbullying me and sending me anti-Semitic stuff, etc., you guys know. And I was at the mall, and he saw me there and yelled Jew in the food court, kept yelling Jew, 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 and like the food court was packed, hundreds of people, and everyone looked at me, and I felt like an alien.
This was recorded before October 7th. This was what they were experiencing before the last few weeks. And over the last 3 weeks, we've seen the horrific images of Hamas terrorists and their victims. This is the greatest challenge to Israel since 1973. If you are under age 50, it's the greatest challenge you've ever seen in your lifetime. And on television and through our stories tonight, we've heard about this uptick. The uptick has been swift, and the result has been more severe than we have experienced in the past. Our students on campus are afraid, and they're afraid to speak out. And it's not just students, it's professors too. This is moving and deeply disturbing. But what can we do? We can't send naval strike groups to the Mediterranean Sea or the Persian Gulf. We're citizens. We can't be with the soldiers in Gaza searching for hostages and Hamas terrorists. But as you've heard, we can fight the war for truth and for hearts here in America, in our communities and on our campuses. This is our job. This is our war. And we face challenges in that war of information. Some people are not going to be persuaded. For them, it doesn't matter that it was a Hamas rocket from Gaza that bombed the hospital in Gaza. Israeli propaganda, they say. For them, it doesn't matter that babies were beheaded by Hamas. That never happened, they said. For them, it doesn't matter that Israel left Gaza entirely in 2005, 18 years ago, an open-air prison, they say. These folks we will never persuade. It's the people in the middle that we must focus on. It's our supporters that we must bolster and train. We must protect our children at school. We must help them become trained advocates, and no less in our communities. Stand With Us provides the tools, the training, and the moral support to give our advocates courage. Now we must use that training to convince our communities, our universities, our high schools, and junior high schools. We must call out terror for what it is. We must call out anti-Semitism where we find it. We must teach more advocates and defend more of our defenders. Now is a time, a crisis, when delay or indifference can lead to failure. Good voices need to be bolstered and encouraged. To do that, we need your help tonight. We're all familiar with the admonition that you cannot build the Red Cross during the hurricane. The Red Cross has to be built before the hurricane. That's why we, all of us in this room, have built Stand With Us. We want it to be ready for the hurricane. We built information resources like those that Roz told you about, a social media network which reaches millions each week, like the biggest pro-Israel set of downloadable fact-filled booklets and brochures on the planet, like the Stand With Us research department that Roz mentioned, which develops the facts and finds pithy, articulate ways for us to persuade. But it's not just information resources, as you heard. We built training programs for campus, for high school, for junior high, and for the community. We built advocacy centers like Sadov Legal and the Center for Combating Antisemitism. We built partnerships with other communities, including the African American community, the Hindu community, with other organizations and synagogues in our own community. And my friends, this moment is why. The hurricane has come. The hurricane is here, and it's going to get worse. In fact, it will last months. and the loud students are already protesting against us. Antisemitism is on the rise as the war goes on. We must remind our supporters that this is a defensive war to protect innocent civilians. We must remind them of the brutality suffered and the crimes still unfolding. We must insist on giving Israel the time and space it needs to protect its citizens from the next attack, because the hurricane is here. Pastor Brooks, Dr. Barai, Cantor Storr, you are heroes. You and your communities stand with Israel and with us. We're thankful for your heroism. We praise it. We wish to imitate it, to be heroic ourselves. There's a way to take immediate action, and the mechanism is the name badge you got when you checked in for this event. How appropriate. The power of your name, your pencil, your purse. You can make a pledge or increase your pledge right now. Students will be coming down the aisles to collect them after I've finished. Enes Kanter Freedom, our keynote speaker tonight, understands the urgency of the situation. He agreed to sign 5 basketballs and give them personally to the donors, who tonight make the 5 largest live pledges, and that means either a new pledge or an increase from your prior pledge. And we learned just a few minutes ago that Steve and Rita of Los Angeles, they founded the Emerson program on college campuses, have agreed to match every one of those live pledges up to $100,000 tonight. Every one of us has personal power when speaking out to a friend, a colleague, a CEO, or a senator. We must use this power. One person can move the needle to reduce anti-Semitism and to advocate for Israel. But one is not enough for this hurricane. We must work together to survive this storm. We must do more. Take a look at 5 different pages in tonight's Stand With Us program booklets. The numbers are there. How many campuses? How many high schools? How many social media hits? This list is good and long. These are impressive numbers. We should be proud of them. But now they must increase. We need more. When we do more, we win. We make a difference. When we link arms and march together, even from our seats here tonight, our dollars are more powerful. Our impact is greater. Our legacy is more secure. We must be able to tell our grandchildren, born or unborn, that in this hour of need, we stepped up. The power of one, the synergy of many. The hurricane is here. Tomorrow is too late. Now is the moment. Your choice tonight will make the difference between success and failure. Choose well.
ועל העוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על ביתנו התינוקת שמורי לי הטוב, על האש המבוערת, על המים הזכים, על האיש השב הביתה מן המרחקים, על כל אלה, על כל אלה על רק נושר כוכב, משאלות ליבי בחושך נרשמות. עכשיו אנא שמור לי על כל אלה ועל אהובי נפשי, על השקט, על הבכי ועל זה השיר. על כל אלה, על כל אלה, שמור לי אלי אדום, על הדבש ועל העוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על נטעות ונטוע, אל תשכח את התקווה, השיבני והשובה אל הארץ הטובה. בן יפה נולד על כתף הכרמל, ומברכים הגיעו מכל עבר. גשם טוב ירד, כי נעתר האל, והחיטה נבטה בשדות השבר. שמש חם זרח, ורוח טל נשב, הילד
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program is about to begin.
Thank you, everyone. Your support and partnership mean so much to us. Please turn your attention with me to the screens.
In the 2011 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Enes Kanter from Istanbul, Turkey, and the University of Kentucky.
As Kanter goes around his man, there's the quickness now on the straight to finish it off.
He has long been an outspoken critic of Turkey's President Erdogan. Kanter says Turkey canceled his passport in retaliation for his political views.
I play in NBA and I have a big platform. So I'm using my platform to voice of all those innocent people because people know my story, but there are thousands and thousands of people out there, their voice waiting to be heard.
I started to, just meet with, Jewish people, people from Israel, and, they were so friendly and they were so nice. And we both like shawarma, we both like hummus, we both like falafel, So I'm like, I cannot hate these people. Those are like my brothers and sisters.
Enes Freedom is a human rights activist, NBA star, and Nobel Peace Prize nominee who lost his NBA career for speaking out against human rights violations in China. Raised in Turkey, Freedom began to call out human rights violations by President Erdogan in his home country. Turkey then cancelled his passport, put his name on the Interpol list, and imprisoned his father. After debuting his anti-CCP shoes during the season opener, every Celtics game was banned in China and in Turkey. In many interviews, he has spoken out for the rights of the Uyghurs, the Tibetans, Hong Kongers, Taiwanese, and others facing oppression. He also calls out those who demonize Israel and the Jewish people. On a recent trip to Israel, after visiting holy sites, he launched his long-dreamed-of basketball camp for Jewish, Christian, and Muslim children in Jerusalem. In addition to his work in the United States, he educates the Muslim community about the Holocaust. 7 years after having his Turkish citizenship revoked, he became an American citizen and changed his last name to Freedom. Freedom has become a voice for the oppressed in Turkey, China, Russia, Iran, and many other countries across the world. However, the NBA is reluctant to sign him for speaking out against China and continuously try to silence him. Freedom is not free. Please welcome to the stage Enes Freedom for a conversation with Stand With Us CEO Roz Rothstein.
Are we alive here? We are live. Yes. Welcome, Enes. Welcome. You are a superstar in so many ways.
I appreciate that.
Let's start from, is your mic alive?
I think so.
Okay,
yes?
good.
Y'all can
Good.
hear me in the back? All right, perfect.
So let's start from the beginning. You were a little guy, and you were living in Turkey, and you saw something that made you very uncomfortable. Tell us what that was.
Of course, yeah. First of all, thank you all for having me. This is a great opportunity for me to just come and just speak with you all, because obviously our world having some very difficult and very tough times. So I think just being here, being with you all is the best motivation for me. So, you know, growing up in Turkey was actually very, very difficult. Unfortunately, if you are a politician, right, and if you want to be elected again, you do a couple things. The first thing, you attack America, and the second thing, you attack Israel. And unfortunately, the base is so uneducated. They're like, wow, look at our leader. He's standing tall against America. He's standing tall against Israel. Let's vote for him. So I am 9 years old, and I remember I went downstairs to play with my friends. What I have seen that day shocked me so bad, I still remember till this day. My little friends, who were not even teenagers, they were burning American flags. They were burning Israeli flags. And I was like, guys, what are you doing? They said, you know, well, that's what we've seen on TV. You know, our leaders are calling them evil, calling them terrible people, so we should hate them. I remember one of my friends gave me a flag to burn it. So he gave me a flag, he gave me the lighter. He says, burn it. I looked at it in his eyes. For some reason, I got so scared and I got so nervous. I threw the flag down and I ran upstairs to my mom. I was like, Mom, my friends are telling me they hate America. They're telling me they hate, you know, Israel and Jewish people. They're telling me they hate Christian people. What do I do? My mom said, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but do not hate anyone before you meet them. So that day, I gave a promise to my mom. I was like, you know what? Whatever happens, till I meet with these people, I'm not going to hate them. So 8 years later, I'm 17 years old. The environment that I was growing up in was getting so toxic. My dad is like, enough is enough. You're going to America. I remember asking my dad, I was like, Dad, are you sure you want me to go to pretty much like the devil's nest, you know? My dad is like, yes, and go and see it yourself. And I remember for the first time, my plane was about to land in Chicago. I am so nervous, same time so excited because I did not know what to expect. Anyway, I landed, and I remember, you know, it was my first practice with my teammates. And after the practice, two of my teammates, they were Christians, tried to talk to me. I turned around and left the locker room. But then I remember the promise that I gave to my mom. I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna give it a chance. So I turned around and I was like, what's up? They said, well, you know, we know that you just got here and, you know, you are Muslim and would you like to take us to go get some halal food? And if you want, there is like a mosque in like 15 minutes from here, we can take you. And I was just very confused because it was the first time that the last 17 years, what I hear, I was like, I started questioning it. Anyway, so in a week or 2 weeks later, I met with this, one of my Jewish friend. I did not know she was Jewish. And if I knew she was Jewish, I probably wouldn't be friends back then. So anyway, we became good friends, and she invited me over for a Shabbat dinner. I was like, what's a Shabbat? They said, every Friday we get together and we have this beautiful dinner, and it's an amazing time. I was like, but what is Shabbat? He said, well, it's like a religious dinner. And I was like, religious? Like, what are you? She said, I'm Jewish. I hang up the phone. And then I was like, well, I remember the promise again to my mom. I called her back. I was like, okay, I'm coming. But before I went to her house, I called one of my Turkish friends who lives in America. I was like, listen, man, I'm going to one of my friend's house who is Jewish. So if you don't hear from me for the next 2 hours, you better call the police. So anyway, so I went to her house. I stepped in the house. I remember when she stepped in the house before me, and she just kissed and slapped the door. I was like, what are you doing? Oh, there's like a little prayer that we just kissed and just touch it before we enter the house. I was like, oh, like we had the same thing too in our country. That's interesting. Anyway, I went to her house. It was so peaceful and it was so nice. And at one moment, I asked the mom, I was like, did you guys know that I was coming, so that's why you guys are preparing Turkish food? I was like, no, this is this is what we eat in Israel. So it's just like, we just prepared it like the rice and the hummus and then all the other stuff. I was like, okay. So it was so beautiful and so peaceful. We ate, I was thinking about we eat the same food, we listen to the same music, we do the same stuff, right? After I say goodbye, I got so emotional because I started to think about the millions of kids in the Middle East growing up anti-Semitic, anti-West, anti-American, just because of those hate speeches coming from the politicians. It's not the religion, it's the politicians that are messing everything up. So I called her, I was like, listen, I want to get to, know more about Israel, about Jewish people. What do I do? Do you recommend some movies and some documentaries, some shows? She said, yeah, there is this movie called Don't Mess with Zohan. You watch that, you learn everything about Israel. It became my favorite movie. I'm sure you guys watched it thousands of times. But yeah, so no, it's very funny. It's very interesting. Actually, my brother is here. He never watched the Zohan, so I was like, tonight we're watching it. Anyway, so that's how I, grew up and started to get to know the other side.
That's very funny. Don't mess with the Zohan. We know that your father was put in prison. Tell us if he's okay, if he's out of prison.
So I talk about the problems that were happening in Turkey for the last 10 years. Actually, Turkey was the first country, and Erdogan, the dictator Erdogan, I call it dictator Erdogan, was the first president ever, first leader ever that came out and openly supported Hamas and said Hamas is not a terrorist organization. I mean, it's on the internet, you guys can watch it. Before October 7th, Erdogan and the leader of Hamas met in Turkey, the capital of Ankara, And so I'm just trying to show you what kind of person he is. So there was a big corruption scandal happened in Turkey. President Erdogan and his family was involved in it. And he got caught and he started to put innocent people in jail. And that was the first time I said something. I was like, I don't care who you are, but if you're fighting against a free media, I'm going to say something about it. So I say something, became a conversation in the United States and Turkey. And I was like, even one simple tweet or one simple interview can affect this much. From now on, I'm going to be even more outspoken. So I started to study, and I started to give interviews and write op-eds and stuff. And they really hated that. My dad was one of the biggest and most successful scientists in Turkey, and first they fired him, And the second, my sister went to medical school for 6 years, and she still cannot find a job. I think the saddest one was my little brother, because he wanted to be like his big brother and play an NBA and all that stuff. But he was getting kicked out on every team because of the same last name. So they were getting affected so much, they had to put a statement out there and said, we are disowning Enes. The letter actually is still out there on the internet. Turkish government didn't believe that. They sent police to my house in Turkey, and they raided the whole house, and they took every electronics away, phones, computers, laptops, because they wanted to see if I am still in contact with my family or not. They couldn't find no evidence, but they still took my dad in jail for a while. But we put so much pressure from here to Turkey, they had to let him go. And then after that, they put my name on Interpol list. I can only travel to 29 countries in the world. I have 12 arrest warning for me. They actually tried to kidnap me in Indonesia. Recently, I was in Vatican. I met the Pope, and I was actually doing a basketball camp in Vatican for the first time ever. The next day, they put a bounty on my head. FBI called me. They said, we need you to get back to America immediately because this could trigger a lot of people, a lot of bad people, So, since then, it's been almost 10 years now. I have not seen my mom, my dad, or my sister. The only family I have is my brother, just sitting right here. Yeah.
Your brother is here tonight.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. This is your first Jewish event. I heard that before. So welcome. Yeah. Is it okay so far? Yeah?
He loved the food. Oh,
he
God.
Loved the
food.
He
killed it.
His first Jewish event, okay? This is very cool.
You know what he said? He's like, God, I love the hummus. He's like, hummus doesn't taste that good in Turkey, but he loves it here.
That's saying a lot. So, Enes, you started doing all these amazing things. You want to tell us what you're up to? The basketball camps that you told us about and all that stuff?
So, I was playing for Boston Celtics, right? And I met with the consul general of in Israel to Boston. And one day, we became really good friends. It's a very weird friendship. But one day, he invited me to a Holocaust Remembrance Day. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come. Because till 24, 25, I did not know nothing about Holocaust. They did not teach you that in Turkey. I was keep hearing about it, but I did not know nothing about it. I'm not ashamed to say it, but I didn't know. And then after I came to America, you start learning about Holocaust and what happened and all that stuff, right? He said, well, I think it will be nice for you to just come and just learn and educate yourself. So anyway, I went there. And I remember just sitting down with him and we were just, talking, and I was trying to learn and stuff. I remember that there's one moment. There was this lady, she was probably like 90 years old on a wheelchair. So she just, rolled up and get close to me. She looked up. She's like, I've never seen a Jew this tall before. I was like, ma'am, you are so sweet, but I'm not Jewish. She's like, wait, what are you? She said, I was like, I'm Muslim. She's like, then what are you doing here? I was like, well, I'm here to learn. She started to tear up. And she said, we really appreciate you coming here because I'm a Holocaust survivor, So that day, what I have learned, it was, I don't know how to describe it with words, So I came up with this two beautiful idea. I was like, we need to educate people because there are so many kids out there like me that don't know nothing about Holocaust, and even some people denies it. And there is this huge hate against Israel, against Jewish people. You ask to some of your friends who lives in Middle East. In schools, front of classes, you have American flag and you have Israeli flag. And if you don't step on those flags, you're not allowed to attend the class. Think about it. And if you don't step on those flags, you will get bullied by your teacher, by your friends, by your classmate, by your teammates. Think about the hate that they're teaching, So my first project was teaching Holocaust initiative in Muslim schools in America. We did it. It was one of the biggest hit that we had. The second project, I've told about some of my friends about the second project, they were just calling me crazy, but I was like, I want to organize a basketball camp in Jerusalem, and we are going to invite Israelis and Palestinians. So, Rose, I said this dream to many of my friends on both sides. They said, you are crazy. They're not going to play basketball. They're going to fight. I was like, you know what? I'm taking that chance. So we organized this basketball camp in Jerusalem, in Haifa and Tel Aviv. There's a lot of videos out there. You all can go out there and watch it. So I went there for the first time. Right before I went there, actually, I was getting so much death threats. So much death threats. I was like, you know what? I don't care about any of them. I'm doing God's work. I'm going to go. So I went there. And I remember first time I walked in a gym. And there's this one parent actually came up to me and they said, we got to tell you a story. I was like, okay, go ahead. He said, look at this little girl over there. I said, okay. She said she's Palestinian. I was like, okay. So her parent is one of the board members of Al-Aqsa. So they're like a really big family in a Muslim community over there. So she said, when we told our kid that, you're going to go to Jerusalem and do a basketball camp with other Israeli kids, she said, there is no beep way I'm going to go to Israel and play basketball with other, Jewish kids. They said, well, Enes is going, just give it a chance. We'll get you a lot of, gifts and, just go there for 1 hour. If you don't like it, we'll take you back. She ended up staying for 2 weeks. And after a week, she apologized, in front of all of her teammates and say, sorry guys, I just didn't know enough. There was this one moment, so I purposely put them on the same team. I put this Palestinian girl and a Jewish kid and me was on the same team. I don't know if you guys know the basketball terms, but the other opponent team shot the ball, they missed it, I got the rebound, I gave the ball to this Jewish kid. He crossed someone over, he passed to this Palestinian girl and she scored the ball. And when she was coming back, they high-fived each other. I was like, this is the most beautiful scene I have seen in my life. I know that I'm not going to change the Middle East by doing one basketball camp, but it's a start. Instead of them getting bombs on the street and covered in blood, we'll take them to the basketball court, And now I have this another idea, which I haven't done it yet because of what's going on. It's on delay a little bit. I'm sure you guys heard about Kyrie Irving. I'm sure you guys heard about Kanye. I'm sure you guys heard about many other, the players or whatever that came out and said the craziest things possible. I was saying it's not only their fault. It's on us too. If someone would have taken Kyrie, if someone would have take those players when they were a rookie, when they were a college student to Israel and show them around, take him to Jerusalem, show them the Jewish side, show them the Muslim side, show them the Christian side, and they said, look, they're living in peace, then they would have these comments. So now what I want to do is actually I want to start a school, a basketball school in Israel, and start taking these influencers, basketball players, whoever, to these basketball camps. And no one can say anything. What are they going to say? Why are you doing a basketball camp for the kids? So once you get into this Gen Z, the area, then we are going to have a bigger voice. Because you know what? A lot of people are going out there and, we know what breaks my heart? If I go in front of a kosher butcher, open up a Palestinian flag and say Free Palestine, what is that going to do? If I go out there in the rallies and open up a Palestinian flag and say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, what is that going to do? Nothing. Is it going to end war? No. Is it going to end the kids are being killed? No. So we gotta, do whatever we can to change that mindset. So.
Thank you. Can you remember what it felt like when you landed in Israel and when you saw it for the first time? Can you talk to us about that? And I know that it was profound, so I want to hear about it, but that's probably the reason why you want to bring people to Israel, because of how it impacted you. So tell us about that.
Of course, first of all, they love basketball. They love the NBA. They know probably more players than I actually do. It's the craziest thing how much they follow basketball. But it was definitely one of the most peaceful places I have visited, especially Jerusalem. I mean, there's no way that you can go to Jerusalem and not be inspired and not be like, wow, this is the most, holiest, and this is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life, And the other thing is, I don't want to, it's pretty crazy, but I gained around 5 to 6 pounds in like 4 days, because I could eat kosher food, so I was just killing it, Anyway, but no, it was so beautiful, so nice. People were so amazing. I actually met so many people from the government and from some of these athletes. I had a beautiful dinner with Omri Caspi. I'm sure you guys know. Before I went there, I had a conversation with Amar Stoudemire, and he said he was very sad that he couldn't be there, but he's going to send his some of his students to my basketball camp and stuff. So we have an amazing opportunity. You see, we have lots of people who wants to do good. So I was like, why don't we just do something solid? Instead of telling these people, like, I want to give you an example because actually not many people knows, but after all this thing happened with Kyrie Irving, he texted me. I have the text messages on my phone. I can show you guys privately. But he said, let's talk and let's come up with some ideas and stuff. So I was like, we have an amazing opportunity. Instead of giving him punishments, when Kyrie posted whatever things on his, Twitter, people punished him. He had a 7-game suspension. And after that, I was seeing the locker rooms, anti-Semitism in NBA locker rooms was off the roof after that happened. I was like, instead of that, I wish, we took him to Israel and say, look, you said you don't like these people. Look at it. What do you not like about it? So that's why I have this dream now. I don't want to say a dream. I have this goal now. We start taking these players, athletes, influencers, TikTokers, Instagrammers, whoever they are, to these basketball camps, right? And show them what Jewish people are about, Christian people are about, Muslim people are about, So.
Last question, and then I know you want to do something special right now. So your last question, tell us what you're off to next. What is your next inspiration?
So, I mean, it's right now, so when this whole thing happened, October 7th, I was actually the first, I will say, celebrity or athlete that came out and condemned what Hamas did. Because in my religion, I mean, you guys have a phone, you guys can look at it. In my religion, it says, if you kill one person, it's equal to killing humanity. If you save one person, it's equal to saving humanity. It's actually in our holy book of Quran, So what they did that day was that it has nothing to do with Islam. It has nothing to do with Muslim, So I want to just get that straight first. And now I think basketball and sport is an amazing opportunity to bring people together. I had this one basketball camp in LA. I don't know if you guys know Rabbi Sherman. We had this big basketball camp in a synagogue. We invited all this, Muslims and Jewish and Christian kids, and we had an amazing basketball camp. And after that, we sit down here and we had this conversation with them. They were just asking me about anything. They were just asking me about my religion. I was asking about their religion. So we were just learning about each other. I actually had a message from one of the parents and said, my son was always, scared to go to synagogue because he did not want his friend to know that he was Jewish. But after, he had this basketball camp and see other Muslim kids and Christian kids, and he had this talk with you and stuff. And now he's wearing this big Jewish star and a necklace, and he's going to his school with it. Forget about a synagogue. He's going to school with it. So I think we have an amazing opportunity. We see. I don't want to see on both sides, Gaza, Palestine, Israel, whatever. I don't want to see kids covered in blood and that their mom is screaming in front of them and saying help, I don't want to hear that anymore. It's not just on them, it's on us. We have an amazing opportunity to inspire kids, inspire people out there. If we want to have a better and brighter future, we have to educate our kids. And I think sport is the best way to do it, It's literally, we just organize a basketball camp in America, in the Middle East, in all over the world, which is a country that I can travel. If I shouldn't get extradited back to Turkey, but anyway, and then we play basketball. And I put them in the same team. So they learn to share with each other. They learn they have to communicate or they're going to lose the game. They have to, pass the ball to each other. And I seen after the basketball camps, they exchange numbers. They say, well, can you follow me on Instagram? He's like, if you follow me, I'll follow you back and stuff. So like you see these beautiful conversations that are happening between. What breaks my heart is because of what's happening in the Middle East now, every country have Jewish and Muslim, communities, now they hate each other. But we got to do whatever we can to fix that. It's on us. Listen, it's on me, it's on you guys, it's on everybody here. So.
Thank you. Ennis, you're a very, very special person, and we are very happy to have you with us. And now, speaking of children, is there somebody that you want to?
Yeah. So the reason I'm here actually is very funny. So yesterday, Peggy was telling me about this beautiful story. So there is this a little friend who is, I'll just say my friend. His name is Mason. And if Mason is around, can we just bring him over here? Come on, Mason. What's up, buddy? And he's wearing a Boston Celtics shirt, so I love it. So, Mason, I heard that you told Peggy, right? And said, well, why don't we just invite NS Freedom to our gala and he can speak to our audience. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. I'm sure you love basketball. I'm sure you see what's happening over there. Would you like to say a couple words to the people? No?
Maybe. There you go. It's all yours, buddy. Okay. Just make sure you're always supporting Israel, and make sure you never back down or always believe in what you believe in.
So he's my special friend now. We're going to become teammates in NBA one day. But no, I just want to say thank you guys so much. My last message is, listen, it doesn't matter what your background is, your skin color, your religion, or whoever you are. We need to leave our differences on the table and try and find what we have in common because we only have one world to live. So we need to make this world better together. Till one of those crazy billionaires find another planet to live, this world is what we have, man. So we got to make this world better together. And that's the key word. Together, don't forget.
Thank you, Ennis. Thank you, thank you.
And now, please welcome National and Midwest Stand With Us board member, Dr. Sherry Ross.
Well, hello, friends and family. Tonight has been a powerful reminder of the importance of our situation. We've seen the challenges, but we've also witnessed the strength of our community, of all of you. As we close this evening, let's carry the weight of our cause and the fire of our determination. Together, we will rise above with unwavering resolve. We are so grateful to everyone who has joined us tonight to support us, stand with us, and to support Israel. Thank you. So, now I'm about to announce the 5 highest live contributors from this evening. So if I read your name, please come to the front of the stage to receive a signed basketball from Ennis, which I'm sure you will prize and treasure. He's amazing. But please do it at the end of the evening. So here are the 5 names. Marty Boyer. Thank you, thank you. Miriam Friedman. Barbara Silverman. Yay. Judith Benatar. And David Ross. Thank you all so much. And thank everybody for your partnership in ensuring our work can continue and grow. So to close this evening, I'd like to invite our amazing cantorial choir back on stage to share a never-before-heard medley. Sing along if you know the tune, and the lyrics will also be up on the screens. And after the choir has concluded, the moment you've all been waiting for, please join us for a dessert reception at the back of the room. Thank you all so much again. Thank you for coming, and Am Yisrael Chai.
This is your chance to sing as well. And to all that Ennis just envisioned, Lu Yihi, may it be.
יש מפרש לבן באופק, מול ענן שחור כבד. כל שנבקש הוא יהי. ואם בחלונות הערב או נרות החג רועד, כל שנבקש הוא יהי. הוא יהי.
עוד לא בניתי כבר, עוד לא מצאתי מים באמצע המדבר, עוד לא ציירתי פרח, עוד לא גיליתי איך תוביל אותי עוד דרך, ולאן אני הולך.
עוד לא אהבתי די, הרוח והשמש על העיניים. עוד לא אמרתי די, ואם לא עכשיו אימתי.
עוד לא שתלתי דשא, עוד לא הקמתי עיר, עוד לא נתתי קרן מכל גבעות הגיר, עוד לא הכל עשיתי ממש במו ידיי, עוד לא הכל ניסיתי, ממש לא אהבתי די.
עוד לא אהבתי די, ברוח והשמש על העיניים. עוד לא אמרתי די, ואם לא עכשיו אלמד. על הדבש ועל העוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על ביתנו התינוקת שמרה לי הטוב, על האש המבוערת, על המים הזכים, על האיש השב הביתה מן המרחקים, על כל